Gotta look right. You know, this isn't for like people to watch. I have a friend who's trying to learn to cook. I have a couple friends who are interested in watching me cook, and they all live across the country or across the world. So I'm recording myself cooking so they can watch. I should probably explain stuff as I do it, shouldn't I? The audio for this is going to be pretty awful. You can probably hear the air conditioner in the background. Is it the heater? I don't know, it seems a bit early for it. It's the heater. I probably seem like a crazy person. I just washed my cast iron skillet, and so I wanted to put a bit of oil in it so that it didn't like rust while I do other things. Right now, I have a whole list of other things I'd like to do. And I don't have much time to do them because I go to work today. Best knife I've ever had. Having a good knife is critical. Having a good knife is critical for cooking. If you ever want to be good at cutting things, a nice, sharp, sturdy knife is your best bet. I've had some pretty awful knives in my day. Where to start? I'm going to start with the meat. We're going to start by changing the angle of the camera. So, just a moment. There we go. Enjoy the terrible sound quality. Next time I'm going to get I don't know. I'm just going to turn off the sound. You don't need to hear me ramble. I've got a skirt steak here, which is one of my favorite cuts for stir fry, which is one of my favorite super easy cooking options. Do not need all of this. Probably should not have my phone with me while I'm doing this. Normally I would freeze this for like 10-20 minutes before cutting, but for now, since we're real professional here, I'm super professional, since I'm pressed for time, I'm just going to do it the stupid way. Oh dear, we're cutting with the grain. And this piece right here, the grain of the meat is long. It's going to result in super tough and chewy. Difficult to eat. If I cut it like this, against the grain, this particular cut of meat will break apart real easily while cooking and make something really easy to eat. It's a very thin cut. I know, in theory I should like cut the steak, not cut the steak, I should cook the steak and then cut it, because that's how some people like to do it. I don't know. I'm a fan of cooking it this way. I mean, I can cook a steak. I'll cook a steak for you guys later. I'll show you how I cook a steak, and you'll realize, oh wow, steak is super easy if you do it right. Because the trick to steak is to not touch it. That's it. But for now, I am brutalizing a steak into strips for stir fry. Grain is this way. You can see which direction the muscle fibers grow. It's always a little distressing. You're like, yep, this is muscle. Muscle tissue. You know, muscle tissue. And I'm eating a thing. My friend pointed it out to me the other day. That she felt a little bad because she's eating a thing that was alive. Like, I can't argue against that. That's genuinely kind of sad. Washed the knife. Even though I'm cooking everything, may as well still wash it. No harm done. And real professional, ducking over to get back. Zoom in front of the camera. We're just gonna freeze this bit for later. Since I'm cooking just for myself, I don't need it all. If you're just getting started learning to cook, you might discover that you lack a number of things that are incredibly helpful, like storage containers. It's not something that would have occurred to me at first, but they're very important to have. Like the ability to, oh, that's going to sound terrible. Plastic. Good job, Sophie. Rattle, 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 rustle, rustle, rustle. Having stuff to store leftover food in, super handy. Now, normally, while I'm cooking, I put this stuff in the stove before I even started cutting. But because of the camera, I'm sort of doing things in a slightly different order so that I don't have to move the camera so often. Because I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. This is literally the first time I've recorded myself cook. So, whatever. I know you guys care. Well, I know some of you actually do. I don't know. I'm on camera, kind of, technically. Like, my hands are. And so I ramble, like I'm performing. I don't normally talk to myself, but I don't know what I should be talking about, so I just talk. And you listen, or you mute it. Like that's your prerogative. Good knife. Cuts through veggies really well. I probably have terrible knife form. Anybody watching who actually knows how to cook is probably cringing right now because I just sort of figured it out on my own with more than a few painful mistakes lining my path. Yeah, if you've cut jalapenos, like I just did, don't touch your hand, don't touch your eyes, like I always do, like all the time. I have had habanero stuff in my face more times than I can remember. It happens all the bloody time. For a while I was just completely immune to it. I was so used to it, it didn't bother me. And then I stopped cooking with quite so spicy stuff and my tolerance went away. because I was smart enough to avoid it. Bits of onion. I don't like the outside bit. I am picky, and it's kind of tough. I know it's a little bit wasteful, but it's what compost heaps are for. Or making stock. It's a good plan too. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to start the rice. And I do intend to make some rice. And I found that onions and peppers have a tendency to cook. Oh, rattly, rattle, rattle. You can't hear me. Let's get rid of all this plastic. Something milk-based. Might be time to throw it away. It's a shame. Dairy's delicious. I've found that peppers and onions and carrots, if they're cut thin enough, I'll cook at roughly the same rate. Which makes things a lot easier for me. Now, why am I cutting them this direction? Oh, too late now. Should cut them long ways so that I have longer strips for stir fry. It's literally like the only thing I ever really make, stir fry. Stir fry this, stir fry that, because it's so easy. And you can use basically whatever vegetables you want. If you experiment with the vegetables, you can try out all sorts of different tastes, textures. I'm trying to think of another T word. I got nothing. Got nothing at all. Except some shiitake mushrooms that I hope are still good. How am I kidding? They're fine. More plasticky rustling! I don't remember where I read this, but with like mushrooms and stuff, you want to let them dry before you cook them, and you definitely want to wash them. Most of the veggies I had I peeled, or the jalapenos I washed them. Let's do all of our cutting before we start. And that way you can just... And this is, like, it's better to cut before you start cooking if you're first starting, because you need practice cutting, you need to get faster. Alright, now we're going to move the camera. So we might cut out a bit. Real professional, just picking up my camera, carrying it across the room, getting a look at my dirty kitchen. Hi, this is my belly. I want you to be able to see this thing. I also need to start some rice. Hopefully that won't get in the way. Oh, that's going to be bad. It's going to be steamy. There's steam all over in the camera. I've discovered. I keep saying I've discovered a lot. I used to 3/4 of a cup of rice, because that's plenty for one person. Usually I have leftovers. Follow the directions on your cooker. I could cook rice in a pot, but that is so much harder. And this is real simple. We're going to move the rice cooker across the kitchen so that the steam doesn't get in the way. And time to start. Gas stove, a bit of meat, and gather our seasonings. We're going. What should we use today? I'm just going to pour a bunch of stuff on it because I'm a dork. Garlic powder, paprika, turmeric, cumin, and because I am crazy, cayenne pepper. And I'm going to crush some chilies because food isn't food if it's not so spicy I can barely eat it. Which is not true. I have a hard time eating things that isn't so spicy other people can't eat it. My tolerance has gone up from eating spicy food all the bloody time. I already got a little bit of oil in here because I'm doing things out of order. Probably should have cleaned this before I started cooking. Wooden tool, because I like wood. Oh, I just know Christopher's going to be like, phrasing, when I say that. Turns everything dirty. I can't blame him. Alrighty. Let's cook the meat. It's always a good idea to have soapy water or something available while cooking. Yeah. Got my meat in here. A little bit of tamari, which is soy sauce made without any wheat. I don't know why. I like it. It's good stuff. I should have crushed these before I put that away. Crushed the peppers on the cutting board. Salt. Garlic powder, because I like bunch. Bit of paprika. I'm almost out of cayenne pepper powder because I always use it for everything. Cumin is very potent, at least it smells that way. You don't need much. And what is it? A little bit of ground ginger. I always use too much because I'm going for a vaguely, I guess, Asian-ish? I don't know. I don't know what I'd describe it. I don't want to be like, I'm going to be wrong on the internet. How dare I? Actually, let's also add just a drop or two toasted sesame oil. This stuff is super potent. Pour a lot in and you will just overpower the dish. You just completely overdo it. I'm going to flip them over if they look like the other side is more done than this one, because I want to get them cooked. But they're steak, so I don't want to overcook them, because overcooking steak is just sad. It's real sad. And your poor steak will cry all night. You'll cry itself to sleep because you overcooked it, and then it'll be real tough, really. I mean, you're the one suffering. Can I? A little bit. Ha! Now you get to watch it up close. And I'm going to turn down the heat now, because it looks like the meat is just about ready. Now with steak, I'm not so concerned about the inside. With chicken, you want to make sure it's cooked all the way through, because that will be very, very important. If you don't, bad things will happen. Kidneys will explode, or something. You just get sick. Undercooked chicken can be bad for you. Well, not necessarily will, but it definitely can. Now, got all these lovely meat juices. Here's my bowl, setting it aside for now. Got all these lovely meat juices. I'm going to pour just a bit more oil in because I appear to have stolen it all. And I'm going to get a glovey thing. Spread the oil around a bit. Resume the process with my bowl of veggies. Okay, I turned the heat down too low. I'm going back up to medium. I cooked the steak on medium-high. I'm cooking the veggies on medium. I'm cooking on the smallest burner. That's just what I'm accustomed to. If I've got like a big pot, like I'm making stew or chili, I'll cook over on one of the other burners. It's bigger, it has more heat. When I'm cooking for myself, I have a smaller, real professional, smaller quantity of food, lower heat. Seasoning my veggies basically the same way. Not adding any more oil though, because that oil is probably in the oil that's coating these veggies as we speak. And when I cook onions, carrots and stuff, I like to cook them fairly slow so they get sweet and tender. Cook an onion on a high heat, you will char it, at least in my experience. It gets real bitter. And this is it. Like, I'm just going to let this sit here for a while. Now is a good time to do some dishes. Let it cook for a bit. Get a glass of water or something, because I'm thirsty. Zoom back out so you can see me. Hello. Kind of awkward angle. Hi. I wish I had something red in here. I like lots of color. Right now I've got orange and green and white. I need some like red peppers or something. And the turmeric is making my onions turn yellowish. Turmeric is super colorful. It changes the color of everything it touches to orange. I'm real hungry now. All this talking about food is making me real hungry. I'm cooking. I'm like, I'm hungry. Stealing a piece of meat. Throw it on a shelf in the future. Spicy. I got the mushrooms over here now. I usually add them last because I've found I prefer mushrooms cooked the least. Cook a mushroom for too long, it turns mushy. And that's no fun. It gets gross. I really hope you guys like this. And by you guys, I literally mean like there's two people that I'm actually doing this for, maybe three. I won't name names. The rice is over there boiling and bubbling in the cooker. Those things are super awesome. I would not eat rice nearly as often as I do if I had to cook it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, let's add the mushrooms to the mix. We're down to a medium-low heat. Get it nice and stirred up because all those seasonings, they'll spread out onto the mushrooms. You don't really need to add more unless we add a bunch of other stuff, which we didn't. We just added a couple of shiitake mushrooms. Just the caps. The stems are always really tough. Honestly, I'm actually still learning how to use shiitake mushrooms. Like, they're one of my most recent food added to my list. I can talk. Diet. We'll just say one of the most recently added to my diet. Low heat. Let the residual heat in the pan do most of the cooking. Because I think the peppers are starting to reach a point where they're a little bit overdone, and we want that to stop right now. Turn it off. I'm a fan of cast iron. It holds heat. Now it's real hot right here. The heat spreads out. It doesn't spread out like super even. You can still see like it's localized in certain places. But the whole thing retains heat really well. So like, don't touch the handle without a glove or something. Oven mitt. Or whatnot. Add this back in so that I can let their flavors fully mingle. This is what I cook like almost all the time. Not this specifically, but just this style. Like, cook some meat, cook some veggies, add some rice. I try to cut down on how many carbs I'm eating. I found that my hunger throughout the day is much more manageable when I focus on protein and fat with just enough carbs to make it palatable. And the more I get used to it, it's a plate full of onions, not very easy to eat. A plate full of steak, delicious. Yeah, let's start cleaning up our spices. I suppose I could move the camera again if you really want, because that's just going to sit there now. Alright. Dirty kitchen! It's not actually all that dirty. I mean, it's dirtier than I would like it to be. Here's my rice cooker, right there. Whatever, I'm rambling. You can deal with it. You can mute me if you want. What I'm saying isn't the most important in the world. I'm sure a lot of you already have. Right now we're just waiting for that to be done. I don't even know if you actually saw that little tiny light. I'll lower myself into frame. Of course, I have to go to work soon. probably want to cut ahead. Because this right here is real boring to watch. Literally watching steam rise into the air. And me walk in front of the camera real professional-like. Oh, look. Someone messaged me. And it's like, planning any awesome food? Wow. It's real convenient right there, the timing. Actually, you know what? You don't need to watch the rice cook. If I'm going to talk to you guys, let's just actually talk to you guys. There we go. A friend just messaged me like, hey, you planning any awesome food? Like, I'm literally recording myself cooking right now. Actually, sending that specific message. I'll link the video to them later. They'll be like, ah, that's me. That's me that this person is talking to. Super professional. I'm on a video, I'm looking at my phone. Yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing. It's this video is not how to make a cooking video. This video is how to make some stir fry and be real unprofessional about it. Most of my cooking is stir fries because they're real fast and real easy. And I've come to decide they're real healthy because meat and vegetables, and like I could eat this, just the meat and veggies by itself. I don't really need the rice. Honestly, I'm saving half of the rice for fried rice later because it's real delicious. Real professional selfie. It's kind of perfect. I wish I could share it with you guys. And I don't mean that like the rice is finished. I don't mean that like hyperbolically or metaphorically. Like, I actually wish I could share it with you. I'd have to make a whole lot more. You're all real far away. I don't think it would survive the trip. But I like feeding people. And I always cook for myself. Now I want ice cream. Another message about ice cream. Not the most healthy of foods in the world. I kind of want some. The rice finished, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plate myself some food. Can you see it? Yes, you can see it. Take some rice. I prefer white rice because it's just better. It's just better. It's categorically better. Let's see here. I'm just gonna scoop some of this on top. You're not gonna be able to see it very well. That's what I made. The lighting's not that great on it. But there's a meal. And a really good one.